Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on DC TV, and I'm sort of stressed at the moment because we've just watched the first episode of Crisis on Infinite Earths, aka I think it's just called Hour 1 or Part 1. Oh man, what just happened there? We've got to talk about it, but just wow. Holy wow. This is probably going to be the most but like tame episode. This is probably going to be the most calm to watch episode, and I'm already just like stressed from it. So we're going to talk about it, but of course, spoiler alert from what we're going to go over in this video. We're going to talk about, not everything, because there was some like minor stuff that's not worth talking about. But we're going to talk about all the major moments and all the spoilers. So yeah, but of course, leave your opinions in the comments section down below. What did you think of this episode? What was your favorite part? What are your theories from it? What do you think is going to happen with certain characters, whether they died or lived beyond this episode? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you enjoy the episode and it's got you excited for what's to come over the next 2 nights and I guess the next 4 episodes, let me drop a like on the video. But firstly, you would have noticed a new intro. That's from Jamal Haynes on Twitter. I will leave the link to his Twitter in the description down below. Awesome intro, especially for Crisis. Thanks, dude. I loved it. But yeah, we start off the episode with the Monitor's like intro monologue, if you want to call it, sort of explaining the multiverse or the birth of the multiverse. It's very much like the comics. From memory, it wasn't exactly like the comics. I think they just pretty much like sort of changed it around a bit just to fit the TV side of it, if you know what I mean. But throughout this, we get like throwbacks to previous seasons and various heroic moments, just basically maybe to like new viewers, they need to remind like examples of what these heroes did, you know what I mean? Maybe that's why they did it, but you know, there's throwbacks to like last season for some of the shows and even back to like season 1 of Supergirl with her with the plane and various things like that. But the cool thing that they did, which was sort of similar to the comics, I wish they did a tiny bit more with it, just because I think in this episode there were some like quote-unquote filler bits, and I think it was because it was a Supergirl episode, so they had to do some stuff with Supergirl characters. But I wish they'd maybe done a couple more of them. Maybe they wanted to and they weren't able to get the cameos. I'm not too sure. But we get a handful of cameos with seeing various Earths get destroyed. So the first one we go to is Earth 89, which is in Gotham City. And we see Robert Wool, who is from the Batman 1989 movie. Now there was I think he was holding a newspaper with Michael Keaton's face on it. I didn't see it. If he is, I'll try and get the screenshot from the episode and put it up here. I didn't see it in time, so he might have been holding that. So that Earth gets destroyed. Then we go to Earth 9, where the Titans are in San Francisco. As I said in my video, a month or a couple months ago, this would happen. That would be from Earth 9. We'd see the Titans. Everyone said I was a liar, but they were there. So if you called me a liar and said that was never going to happen, you can either apologize in the comments or you can hit me up on Twitter and say, I'm sorry, Paige, for ever doubting you. Then we move over to Earth X. Or by the way, with the Earth 9 Titans, we saw the Jason Todd Robin and Hawk. So those are the 2 we saw. Then we go to Earth X, we see the Ray quickly. Not sure if that was a new scene. I don't think it was. If it was a new scene, then yeah, but then again, it might be in other parts of the crossover. I don't know. I think it was from the Crisis on Earth X crossover though, just a shot of him there. And then finally we go to Earth 66 where we see Burt Ward, who obviously played Robin back in the day, and he has a line there. It was like Holy Crimson Skies or something like that. So yeah, those were the 1, 2, 3, 4 Earth cameos that we saw got destroyed. But this sees us go over to Earth 38 where we see a cult of Rao Doomsayer, who is played by another cameo, that of Will Wheaton. Now I didn't notice this in the trailer. It didn't look like Will Wheaton, but then again, I haven't looked at Will Wheaton in a while, but it was Will Wheaton. Obviously, he's on like Big Bang Theory and Star Trek and stuff like that. He's actually attacked by Spike the Dragon, who if you don't watch Supergirl, you'd have no idea what that was. That's like an alien dragon. He's saved by Supergirl, but this is when we find out that the antimatter is heading towards them, and this pretty much kicks everything off. But we find out that Argo City is on the warpath. So for those that don't know Argo City, it's basically like the last surviving thing of Krypton, and it's where Kara's mother, Allura, resides, and it's also where Clark and Lois went to have the baby and everything that was set up in Elseworlds. So Clark, Lois, and Baby John are there. We see them in like their house and how they've been living and stuff like that. They seem pretty happy. Superman or Clark is sort of struggling with changing nappies or changing diapers, whatever you call them. But they're essentially alerted by Supergirl. I find it funny that Lois went pants, or she's wearing pants. I thought that was funny. But they're alerted, and they were rescued just in time by Harbinger. But Baby John is sent in a pod, just like how Clark and Kara were when Krypton was being destroyed. He's sent in a pod, but he doesn't actually get to Earth. He goes somewhere else, which we'll come back to later. But Allura, unfortunately, isn't so lucky. Harbinger didn't get her because, well, she wasn't needed by Harbinger. But, you know, Clark and Lois were apparently. Now we do see the replay of the end of last week's Arrow, which, you know, I think they needed to because not everyone would watch Arrow. So they replayed the last minute or two of that episode where it's Oliver and Mia having a talk. And then we see Harbinger pick them up as the red skies dawn on Earth 1 and she takes them away from Lian Yu. And this pretty much just kicks off us picking up the remaining heroes that need to be picked up. So we see Barry picked up as well after the red skies appeared on Earth 1 at the end of their episode. So he basically was running around just checking on things. He was in like talking to Cisco and I think even Iris in the earpiece and stuff. And he's picked up there and he's pretty willing because he's like, okay, the crisis is starting. I was surprised his reaction to Lila as Harbinger wasn't bigger. But yeah. Anyway, we then see Batwoman picked up and she's probably the most resistant. She's like, look, I don't even know who you are. What the hell's the multiverse? Just go away. As she's taking on the Wonderland gang and she's not too happy afterwards as she punches Harbinger later on. And then we also see Ray and Sarah from the Legends picked up last, and it seems fitting that they'd be doing something so casual as partaking in just a trivia night, which I thought was pretty funny. But all the heroes are brought to the DEO to go over, well, the crisis at hand. Now, the quantum towers, we find out, were placed on certain Earths back in the day, and that they pretty much prevent that certain Earth from being destroyed, or at least put it at bay. So if something attacks it and takes it down, well, the antimatter, is still going to come there and destroy, but the quantum towers can hold it at bay. Now we find out that Earth 38 has one. They don't think they've really established whether like Earth 1 has one. If they did, let me know. I'm not 100% sure. But the quantum tower is basically the thing to protect in this episode, and if they lose that quantum tower, well, RIP Earth 38. But as I was saying before, we had Baby John go away in that pod, and as I said, he didn't come with Clark and Lois, and they really can't find him. And they find out that Baby John's pod went through a wormhole of sorts and ended up on Earth 16, which is set in the year 2046, which is sort of like the same setup that the Legends went to back in their first season. So Lois, Sarah, and Brainiac 5 or Brainy go to fetch him, and when we get there, there's Old Man Oliver again. He looks a bit different than what we saw in the Legends episode. I think it was just for ease because it was only just ease. Like, he didn't look that old compared to what he did in the Legends episode, but he still has like the robotic arm again and everything like that. But what we find out is that this is actually different. I think they thought that they'd travel through the multiverse, but this is different. This isn't the same future that they went to. So, and this is due to the fact that we find out that Oliver doesn't recall any of that and that Sarah had died on the Gambit. When we were in Legends Season 1, Sarah had left Star City and everyone else had left or died, so it's a bit different. But Sarah's chat to Oliver here was really emotional. It was very good. In regards to a one-on-one, it was definitely the most emotional moment of the episode. It was a very good scene. I think it was a very fitting scene to have in this episode with Oliver and stuff. But yeah, very good. Now we see Oliver give Mia her own suit. I did see people saying that Mia did feel a bit out of place. I'd say yes, but also no, because I think they needed to do this because of what happened at the end of the episode. So a bit of a yes and a no. She did feel a bit out of place at certain places. But I think they needed her in this episode for what they did or what happened, if you know what I mean. Now, Barry tells Oliver that he's supposed to die, which, is told to him by the Monitor, and Oliver isn't too happy, and we basically get what a lot of people were thinking, which is the deal that Oliver made with the Monitor was for Elseworlds' events, if that makes sense, not what's actually coming in Crisis. This would be a completely different deal. So Oliver's obviously not too happy about it. He already had issues with the Monitor early on that were resolved, but then the issues come straight back up. Now, as this was a Supergirl episode, as I said before, there were little moments that maybe ate up a bit of time just to introduce and have Supergirl characters there, which I can understand if they needed to do that. But we have Alex Danvers going to Lena to help with what's going on. It's obviously a bit of a heated encounter, and it follows on from what happened with Supergirl over the past couple of weeks. I don't know if this is necessarily needed. They really could have gone somewhere else and maybe had more screen time with certain things, whether it be, I don't know, maybe seeing more cameos with Earth getting destroyed, or even some establishment with Pariah who comes in, but maybe we get more Pariah in the next couple of episodes. I'm not too sure, but maybe they didn't have to have this. I don't know. Let me know. Do you think we needed it, or do you think they could have passed it and done something else? Let me know. But we see the Shadow Demons come in now. The Shadow Demons should be a thing you think in multiple episodes, but they really do make a statement in this episode, and they're basically attacking the Quantum Tower. They're just trying to destroy it for the Anti-Monitor, so then the antimatter can consume Earth 38. And this whole mission basically pretty much turns into saving as many people as they possibly can rather than saving the Earth. It gets to a point where it's well, we're screwed here. We can't save this Earth. It's gonski. We'll just try and save as many people as we can. There's 7-point-something billion people on Earth 38. Let's try and save as many people as we can. Now, the Monitor removes all the heroes from Earth 38. It's we've got to retreat. We've lost this battle. Yo, take the L. Let's go back. all are taken, but Oliver. He's against this. He actually, I think he shoots the monitor with the arrows. I was confused at first because it came in like a weird angle, but he shoots the monitor with an arrow, and he's actually mortally wounded as he runs out of arrows himself and basically goes into a fist fight with the shadow demons. He's mortally wounded, and as this happens, the antimatter actually consumes Earth 38, and we go back to Earth 1, sorry, where Oliver's body is brought. He's still alive, but he is slowly dying because he's mortally wounded. And it's actually revealed here that 3 billion people survived from Earth 38 and were moved to Earth 31, and Oliver actually allowed like an extra billion people to survive because of his sacrifice. So Oliver's made a noble sacrifice, and he's going to die. And we do have Oliver's goodbye speech. Pretty emotional. Maybe it got taken out of, it wasn't as emotional as it could have been just because there was so many people there. Because it was like, what, 4 or 5 people like he was really referring to and talking to. But it was still, I guess, a good goodbye speech. Well, we know Oliver's not done with this crossover. We know for a fact he's not done. We know from promo images that he's not done. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens out of this, because the Monitor is shocked, because this isn't how things were meant to happen. Oliver wasn't meant to die here. Oliver's meant to die elsewhere. So how does this completely change what was meant to happen and how it's going to happen now, and the Monitor's plan and everything like that? It's going to be interesting. But we also see Pariah show up here as well. He reveals that he actually did release the anti-Monitor, and he's stuck with this life now, if you want to call it. I'm sure we'll get maybe some flashbacks to what happens there, maybe in the Flash episode, because that's Nash Wells. That is Nash Wells, by the way, if you didn't know, because Barry refers to him as Nash, and he goes, I am Nash, like, that's not me no more. So that is Nash, so I'm guessing in the Flash episode they might explain more of that, but that's for us to wait and find out. But they really left it on a cliffhanger, and man, what the hell. But overall, I thought this was a great way to kick it off. As I said, there was some stuff there that I didn't think had to be there, but because it was a Supergirl episode, I can understand why it's there, because we're going to get in other episodes, like I think Flash, Arrow, and even Legends will have elements of those, and even Batwoman. We'll have elements from those shows in there that might feel like they are occupying time, but that's for us to wait and find out. But, it wasn't that much time. I mean, I'd say maybe like they could have taken 3 or 4 minutes out of this crossover from the Supergirl stuff and added more stuff in, but that's just a minor critique. But yeah, overall, great way to start it off. Really got no complaints for the most part, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here, because I don't think many people were expecting him to die, and by him I mean Oliver, in episode 1. I think a lot of people were predicting episode 3 at the earliest, so let's see where it goes, and we got part 2 tomorrow. Not too long to wait. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on what we went over in this video. What was your favorite part from the episode? What shocked you the most? What are your different theories? Let me know in the comments section down below. But yeah, until the next video, my next review for Crisis, which will be 24 hours from now, I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.